G'day everyone, so I'm just going to go over some inverse functions and how to do these just looking on Cas, so as a bit of an example here. So we've got two functions here, we've got 3x squared plus 3 and we've also got the square root of 2x minus 2. So first, if you're trying to find the inverse of a function, it has to be 1 to 1. This means that it passes a vertical line test, like we did with our functions, okay? But it also has to pass a horizontal line test, okay? A horizontal line test. So that means it only goes through once horizontally. So from our two functions here, hopefully we can realize that this one here, our f2, if we did a horizontal line test, it will go through twice. So that means it's many to one and not one to one. So technically, it doesn't have an inverse function. So that technically doesn't have an inverse function. It can't be done. Okay? So, but with our other one here, if we go vertical line test, that's all good. Horizontal line test, that's all good. It only goes through once. So this one here, it can have an inverse function. Okay? But I'll first go over how we can make this f2 have an inverse function. And how we do that is we restrict the domain. So essentially, we eliminate some of our graph. So hopefully you can see here what's stopping our parabola from having only one place going through. It only goes through once. So we need to get rid of one of these sides. Okay? So we can either get rid of below 0, which is over here, or above 0, which is on this side. So I'm just going to get rid of the values below 0. How we restrict our domains in this, we just do control equals, select this, okay, and now we can put in our domain. So if we wanted x to be greater than, control equals to get to our greater than or equal to symbol, 0. Okay, so this will get rid of all of that there. Now, let's do our horizontal and vertical line test again. So we're going to do horizontal test, left to right, that's all good. Vertical line test only goes through once, that's all good. So now, both of these functions can have inverse functions. So this is how you make a function that can't have an inverse function have an inverse function. That's by restricting the domain, so changing the x values that it goes over. Okay, so now I'm going to go into how you can actually find these and find them pretty easily on Cas. Okay, so first off, we're going to do our y is equal to the square root of 2x minus 2. So with inverse functions, we need to swap x and y and then solve for y. So we can do this really easy on Cas by doing menu, algebra, solve, and then if you want you can copy and paste or type it in. I'm going to copy and paste, Control C, Control V, then I'm just going to swap my x and y, so make this x and make this value here y. And we need to solve for y, so that whatever you're solving for, you put that after the comma. Solve for y. We press enter, and we get our value here. So y is equal to x squared over 2 plus 1, but x is greater than or equal to 0. Okay? So just remember, that's just stating that your x value is going to be greater than or equal to 0. So hopefully that makes sense in regards to that, because we only have one line here. Okay? That's just stating that this value here, it's only going to have one line as well, because you can't have this second line appear out of nowhere. Alright, so now we're going to do this other one on our Cas and look at the options it's going to give you so you can actually work out what one to put down. So we're looking at the positive side of x, okay? And just remember, it essentially flips over our x and y values here whenever you're doing it. So here, we want to solve for this one here. And another way you can actually put it in is if you type in solve, and then once it goes to italics to the sort of your normal type of text, that means it's recognize that this is a function that the calculator can do. Solve. Okay, swap your x and y. And then make sure you put comma y, so it solves for y. So you click enter here, and you'll have a few options pop up. So essentially, just remember, if you're doing the opposite of a square, it's a square root, and this can be positive and negative. So that's why you've got a positive and negative response popping up here. So you'll see here, this is our positive one at the start, and x minus 3 has got to be greater than 0, and this is our negative one here. Okay? So it depends how you restrict your domain, which one you use. Alright, so just make sure that you've got two responses here. That's just because when you get rid of a squared sign, you get a square root, and the calculator still thinks that can be positive or negative. Okay, so you would just leave your answer as the positive value anyway. Okay, so if you're restricting your domain, so you really only need to look at that one. So I hope this helps, and good luck.